All right, guys, welcome. Thanks for jumping on. Obviously we're recording this because there'll be plenty of people that can't always make it onto the Zooms, but we're going to keep it pretty short and sweet tonight, really. Just a bit of an introduction into sort of what we're wanting to do with that Facebook group, the Hackers Down Under group that we just started. There's not much in there at all yet, but it's just going to be a good little community, hopefully, for everybody that's wanting to learn various different things without having the group sort of affiliated with any particular opportunities or platforms or people putting their hand out to grab your money. Just a place where we can all share. At the moment, it's sort of me and Des that's on the call running the show there. But as more and more people join, well, I'm hoping people that know more than me join, because then they can start teaching me stuff. But I mean, obviously, under no illusions that I know everything, that's for sure. Particularly with various crypto stuff, it moves ahead at such a fast pace. Probably anybody that tells you they know it all is full of crap. So I'm not going to tell you that, that's for sure, but I'm more than happy to share what I know. A lot of that'll be my opinions, of course, and everyone's welcome to argue that point. But so really what the group is sort of an education group, and at the moment, it's just sort of going to focus around crypto things. So I know there's a lot of people that still know next to nothing about crypto, and they sometimes don't want to put their hand up and say that, though. So we'll definitely be having lessons on the very basics of crypto, like right back to the basics of what is crypto, what's Bitcoin, what's the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum in basic terms. What's a wallet, what's an exchange, all the real basic terms. There are still a lot of people that don't understand that. And because crypto has been around a while and a few of their friends are always talking like they're the experts, they're a little bit afraid to put their hand up and make everyone aware that they know nothing at all. If you're one of those people, I assure you, you're not alone. I'm probably only a little step above, really, too, because there's plenty of subjects in the crypto space that I probably should know more about, but I don't yet. And that is because there's so much around. But sometimes I don't like to ask either, because, someone knows a whole heap more about it than me. And, not that I'm trying to say I'm the expert, but sometimes I like to think I know a little bit. And human beings being what they are, they don't like to admit that they don't know stuff at times. So that's the group, and what I was saying, crypto. So we'll touch on the basics of crypto, but I know there's plenty of people in the group already that have a pretty good understanding of basic stuff to do with crypto, but want to branch into the newer features of crypto, like the DeFi space, the whole metaverse and internet 3.0, 4.0, whatever they're up to. But, all of the newer stuff like the metaverse, if you don't have a clue what that is, you're in the majority of people. Simple as that. But we'll try and, not that I'm an expert still, but I do sort of understand how it works and what it is. So I'll be a pretty good person to explain that to you, because the only way I could explain it is in a dumbed down way anyway. So that'll suit everybody that doesn't know anything. Because I try to explain in a technical fashion, you'll realise that I do not know much about it. So we'll get into that, and a lot of the different things in the metaverse, like different games and sites in the metaverse where you can actually earn cryptos, win crypto, get in on tokens before they're launched and make good profits that way. There's a lot of things that are new and brand new, and probably tomorrow or the next week there'll be even new things come along. So we won't keep up with it all, but there are some definitely interesting things that if you like your crypto, it's worth starting to learn more about. The metaverse is one. I won't talk about that tonight, because that'll be something I'll talk about for a long time, because I'm old fashioned. I reckon the kids should be outside playing on their bikes and getting in trouble with the neighbours for doing whatever they shouldn't be doing, but that's good old fashioned fun. But that's just not the way the world is now. They get in trouble online. But anyway, so there's that. Me and Des, I know Des as well, but me, I know personally I'm real passionate about my trading for a number of reasons. So there will be a lot of info and lessons and everything about trading, just because that's what I like. Probably not the majority of people are interested in that, but we'll definitely get into that as well. Network marketing. Now, some people love it, some hate it. I personally love it, but I'm going to go into that as well, because a lot of people are interested in that, can see the huge potential there, but really don't know where to start. And point in case, like a year ago, Des probably wouldn't have known what I meant when I said network marketing. He knew nothing about it. Plenty of times in the, up until 6 months ago, he just didn't think he had a chance of referring anybody to anything. But, he's learned stuff, and now he's seen the light there, and he does quite well. Pretty much, at times I know he's been making a living out of, online stuff, which includes network marketing. And tonight, and I know I did that poll to see what everyone wanted to learn, and this was right at the bottom of the list, but it's right at the top of my list, which is risk management. And I would be doubtful if there's anybody in the group that hasn't put money into something at some stage and lost their money. I know I have, for sure, but 90, 95, 98%, and I'm just making those figures up, but of the things that I have lost money in, if I knew what I knew now about risk management, I wouldn't have lost my money. It's as simple as that. I'm not saying I would have made a lot, but I know now how to manage my risk, identify where the risk is, and put procedures in place, or just decide not to do it, but put procedures in place so that, I don't actually end up losing money. And that's got nothing really to do with any particular opportunity. That's just me being able to now identify, where the risk is, how to avoid that risk, you can't always totally avoid risk, but you can minimize risk by doing things. And that's what we're going to get into tonight, at least a little bit. I don't want to keep these recordings too long, because if somebody clicks on a recorded Zoom call or something to watch it and try and catch up, and it's like an hour and a half long, they're not going to watch all of it. They'll skip through bits and they'll miss the good stuff. All right. I did take a couple of notes to try and make sure I covered some decent information. Risk management with trading, we're not getting into that tonight. That's going to be totally separate. And when we start doing trading education, that will be a major part of trading as well. And when I say this, just keep an eye on Des, he'll start nodding. But learning how to trade.
If there's a way to lose it, I've done it.
The technical side of learning to trade isn't very technical. It's managing your risk and the psychological, putting a lot of practice in so you can just do what you needs doing. That's the hard part to get your head around and get good at. But so there'll be plenty more risk management when we get on to trading as well. So when I'm not really using any examples because it really doesn't matter. I can't even read my own writing, but whatever, let's say, and when I'm talking about managing risk, I'm not talking about an online investment operation. I could be, but I'm not only talking about an online investment platform or purchasing crypto, trading, purchasing crypto, online investment, trading opportunity. All of that is really what I'm talking about when it comes to risk management. So it doesn't matter what you do, well, as long as it's aimed at making money, well, probably not even that, but talking about making money tonight, no matter what you're doing and how you're doing it, you need to identify where the risk is. Because if you're making money or you're investing, whatever, there's always going to be risk. If you can't see the risk, then you need to look harder, because there is definitely going to be risk there. People don't just throw money away forever without some sort of a risk. It's you go and get yourself a job, and you're working away, you're making money. There's still risk there. Don't kid yourself about that. Des was working up until not too long ago, and now he's off on compo, and that's not paying him as much as he was hoping. But and a lot of people have definitely realised that since good old COVID came along. People that previously thought that they had a great job or a great business, it was really secure and everything was roses, all of a sudden found their business going down the tube, found they were laid off from work, or, you know, they were in quarantine or whatever, but all of a sudden this supposedly secure income stream was gone. And not too many people have enough just savings to live off. And I don't want to live off my savings. My savings are there to save. I guess it's there for a rainy day, of course, too, but I'd still like to have a heap of money coming in from some sort of an income and have all that extra savings there for a holiday or a retirement or whatever. But unless you've got literally hundreds of thousands of dollars, you know, for each person it'll be different. We've all got different amounts of expenses, but unless you've got a really sizable nest egg, then you still can't afford to be off work very long. So no matter what you're doing, and when we get into crypto, we'll talk about the sort of risk behind buying crypto or doing anything with crypto as well, because that'll be slightly different. But you know, if you buy crypto, you got to think about, you know, and you shouldn't just go and buy some crypto of whatever sort simply because you've seen a couple of flashy ads and it got you excited, or your mate who tells you he's a crypto expert.
Dogecoin.
Yeah, that would be the exception probably, but you know, buying into the hype or doing something just because a friend of yours, no matter how cluey he is, tells you to do it, can pay off sometimes, but you really should. I'm hoping that's what we can do in the group, is get people to where they can identify the risks themselves. That's the number one thing. You know, if you can, probably identifying the risk is probably going to be harder than putting some practices in place to minimize it. But, you know, if you're going to, you know, we use whatever crypto we're talking about, you know, your mate buys some and it goes up by 4 times or 10 times and he's, you know, laughing and spruiking about it. So you go and buy some. Well, by then it's already gone up a lot in value. So there's a greater chance that it can drop, or a greater chance it can drop further. So that's where the risk is. And with any crypto, the risk is that, well, the risk with a lot of them is that it could just drop in value so far down that it's worth nothing or next to nothing and never comes back up again. Even with mainstream cryptos that we know are going to be around for a long time, let's just go with Bitcoin. When you buy some, the risk is that it may go down in value. I have no doubt that it's going to go back up to all-time highs at some stage, but you can never know for sure. You can follow trends, you can follow all the real experts and everything, but they don't know for sure either. So the simple truth is, if you buy some Bitcoin now, it could go down in value, and even though personally I have belief that it's going to go up, and you shouldn't buy it if you don't have belief that it's going to be worth more in 5 years' time. But it could go down in value and your investment could be worth less than you paid for it for the next 2 or 3 years. And then it could go up. So that's just the truth of what could happen. I think it'll go up before then, but that's my opinion and that doesn't really matter. You just should understand that's where the risk.
That's where it's everyone is on their different page. Everyone wants a different result. Someone that's looking long term shouldn't matter in that regard with crypto. But if you are sort of hesitant and you don't want to risk losing it in the next year, or you want a result in 1 year, then that's probably not the best way for you to go. So you've got to find what's going to give you the best result for what it is you're trying to achieve. And that's what's different to everyone.
Yeah, and that's exactly, and that's another risk that can be applied to people with crypto, people in trading. The biggest risk can often simply be human greed or human fear. You know, if your investment goes down in value, you get scared, think, shit, I should cut my losses and get out here now before I lose too much. The moment you do that, your investment goes up in value and you've got to kick yourself in the backside. The same goes when the investment goes way up in value. And you're going, yes, it's just going to keep going. It's going to keep going. And then you wake up in the morning and it's bottomed out and you're back down to where you started from. When it was high, you should have taken profit. And that's human greed, stopping you making money. And the first example is human fear, making you, cut your losses too early. So, that's a big sort of risk type factor. And that's just the way you react to the rise and fall of your investment value. But so that's with crypto. And I'm not here tonight or probably at any stage to tell you exactly where the risk is in any particular opportunity. I sort of just did tell you that with crypto, but my aim isn't to I'm the expert. I'm telling you, this is where the risk is. This is where the risk is. I just want people to, start using their own brain and eyes and thinking for themselves about where there could be possible risk. And the best way of doing that is to look at everything from as many different angles as you can with a really negative, cautious attitude and try and pick it apart and work out, what could go wrong with it, what's worst case scenario. And then it comes down to, what the risk is now, is that, and what's the potential reward, so is the risk worth the reward? You toss that up to yourself. Everybody else has got a different risk tolerance. Some people are happy if they double their money. Some people aren't happy unless they 100 times their money. And, so that's going to be different for everyone. But really, whenever I do anything, look at a crypto, get involved in some sort of an investment platform or use some sort of trading system or trading bot or whatever it may be that I'm doing, the very first thing I do is work out where that risk is. And that's what you should be doing. I mean, sure, sometimes it'll come from a friend or somebody and I'll just jump in with a small amount of money. And then I'll really start learning it and having a look at it and picking it apart, working out where the risks are, and then decide if I want to put anything more substantial in. And that's probably not necessarily the best way to do it. But for me, unless I actually put a little bit of money in, got a little bit of skin in the game, I don't always, this is probably me being slack, but I don't always take the time to learn a lot about that opportunity. But if I've got a little bit of money in it, even if it's only a little bit, then I pay attention because I'm greedy. I like to keep my money. And then I learn. And if what I learn, I decide that it's just too much risk, or I don't like the whole idea of it for whatever reason, then, sure, I've got a little bit of money in it, but it's no big issue. And if what I learn is good, then I can put more in. But probably a few little examples, I guess, like, sure, let's just jump in with what everyone loves to talk about. Let's just go right back to 2017 and talk about US iTech. Yeah, look, Vicky, you can see that nod. No, but what a lot of people did lose some money from US iTech. That's just a simple truth behind it. I didn't actually lose money. I did end up a little bit in front, but anybody that was in US iTech more than 4 months, if they knew what I'm going to be talking about here now, should have ended up with profit. That's what I'm saying. But back then we didn't know anything about risk. We didn't know anything about caution. It was just working well, so we went hard at it. Simple as that. But if we were to do that there now and follow what we're going to be learning here tonight and in this Facebook group, every one of you people would have come out of US iTech in profit. Now, I'm not saying that to be mean and nasty because back then I knew nothing as well. It's just what we've learned over the years. And yes, we did learn that the hard way, simply by losing money. But that's just what I'm saying. Like, if you could have put your money in, and the problem with me was, I made a fair few commissions and I just kept rolling it over, putting it back in, compounding, and now I can't withdraw anymore. All right, so, and that's just the common story. Lots of people know that story, but now, US iTech was around for a bit over a year, but I don't wait that long, anywhere near that long, to recoup my initial money. And that how long is going to depend on the opportunity and what sort of returns they're paying, how the whole setup is. But I've done a few things in the past where I've just lost money because I had a lot of faith in the company, and turned out that my faith was misplaced. And that's not talking about US IT. That was simply because I didn't know enough about anything, I guess. But since then, I've learned more, and I've been in companies that I really did have a lot of belief in. And for that reason, I still wasn't cautious enough, and I compounded too long and ended up losing money. Now it doesn't really matter what I get involved in. I recoup my money as soon as possible. A few of the things I'm involved in now, they're quite high return type things, and I've recouped my initial money, within 3 weeks, sometimes even less. I've been involved in a few of the different metaverse things and getting IGOs, which is initial gaming offerings. So you're getting online gaming tokens before they're available to the public. So you get in early, you get them extra cheap. And then when they launch them, no guarantees, of course, but generally there's a good profit involved. Now, it's a little bit complicated, and a few steps involved to position yourself to do that. But even when I'm doing that, once the value of the token goes up, I sell enough quite quickly to recoup my initial investment, and then the rest is profit. And that's my strategy, and for me, that's the best strategy, because sure, there's been a few things I've been involved in where I've recouped, I haven't done much compounding. I've recouped my money as quick as possible, just to cover my backside in case something went wrong. And then that company's gone on to last for years and years. So I could have made a lot more money by not being cautious, but probably the majority of the time I've saved money by being cautious. So you're never going to be at the peak of earning all the time if you're being cautious. But nobody likes to lose money. Aside from the fact that losing money is obviously a bad thing, it makes you feel bad. You feel depressed. You start to blame people. You blame yourself. You don't want to blame yourself, but you do anyway. It's just shit. Simple as that. But
investing.
We've all lost money at some stage, so we know that it doesn't feel good. But over and above, beyond the fact that you lose money, is that if you lose your money, then you've got less money, and then you try something else, and if you lose money, then you see the money that you've got available for investing starting to dwindle, and the next time you get involved, you sit on the fence for a while because you're not sure, and then you start a bit late, and then you realize you started just as that's finishing, so you lose money again. And then this is getting back to that trading psychology I was talking about before. You're letting human fear interfere with you going along with the right strategy. I guess I'm mostly sort of going on tonight about different online investment strategies, because people are always jumping at those. A lot of them are just simple scams and Ponzi schemes, as simple as that. But they offer easy money, quick money, and people are always going to jump at that. I can post an opportunity that's solid, that I know, that, and in hindsight, I know has lasted for years, and not many people are interested, even though over the course of 3 years, it turned out awesome and really big money, because it's taken 3 years to really do that. People weren't all that keen, I guess. The returns sounded small, even though they're not really in the grand scheme of things. And then I go and post something about something with a really high return, which obviously means there's more risk, and everybody wants to get involved. And that's simply because they're seeing this shiny object. They can see fast, easy money. And I'm not arguing with that. A lot of those things are fast and easy money, but they're the ones that, doesn't matter what you're doing, the higher the return, the higher the risk. I'm just going to stick with that saying. But it's good to make easy money. It's good to make fast money, but you have to be aware of what that risk is, and how you can put some procedures in place in order to, basically recoup your money quickly, and, but trying to make the most of the profit-making potential as well. And that's what a lot of people don't do too. There's a little thing in the trading circles, and Daz will be nodding again. It's called revenge trading. Okay, and what that is it can be two things. You can have a really good run winning all your trades. So you're nicely in profit and you're feeling good because you've made a big profit. And then you have a really bad losing trade. You probably
That's
should
the
just walk away
opposite.
there while you're slightly in profit, but you don't. You just, I've got to get my money back. So you've got to get revenge. And you trade when you shouldn't, possibly with bigger trades than you should. And you end up, if you lose again, then you're even further behind. And it works the other way as well. If you have a couple of losing trades in a row, you know, maybe you'll lose some trades over the course of 3 days. All right, you don't want to be smart, or you probably do want to be smart, but you don't end up being smart and doing what the smart thing would be to do would be to trade, you know, within your risk tolerances for another week in order to get your money back and then go again. But you don't want to waste those 3 days you've just had losing. So you start trading with bigger lot sizes and you start trading more aggressively. And that simply means, why are you smiling, Des? And it just simply means that you're increasing the risk. What you were doing before was reasonable risk tolerance, you lost. So what do people do? They increase their risk, trying to get it back, which obviously is wrong. But in the heat of the moment, that's what happens. And that same psychology can come back to if you're on various different online investment programs. If you have a couple in a row where you lose the money, then as I said, you might sit on the third one comes along, you sit on the fence for too long, you start late again and you lose. The next time one pops up, you might be too cautious. You've already lost too much money, so I'm only going to put a little bit into this one. This turned out to be the one that goes hard and you could have done really well at, but you don't really realize too much profit because you weren't willing to put as much in as you did on the previous ones. What a lot is going to be different for everybody. And the other thing is, if you've had a couple of losses, whether it's a couple of losses, doesn't matter whether it's trading, buying crypto or online investment programs, but if you have a couple of losses in a row, what some people might do is they go, right, like we're talking about with trading, this one here, I'm going to go in, I'm going to go hard, I'm going to put a big chunk of money in. It may pay out, it may not, but that's you doing something against your normal risk tolerances. You know, you normally wouldn't be putting that much in, but you think, I'm just going to do it and I'm going to get my losses back and then it'll be all good. Then I'll go back to being sensible. That doesn't usually work out for the best either. So
This place is not a casino.
No.
If you want to
No, for sure.
have a win, if you're looking for a win, I've got links to online casinos.
Yeah, I mean, if you're trading or you're putting money into this or that or whatever, and generally it'll be if you don't have much knowledge about what you're doing and where you're putting that money, if it ever starts to feel like a gamble, if it feels like you're at the casino or the horse races, then that's when you need to stop. You need to stop and you need to learn a bit more about what you're doing before you get involved again. Because you should always have a contingency plan. You should always have a strategy in place. You're never going to win every trade. You're never going to win every investment. Not every crypto you put in money into is going to boom. But taking some losses, not just in trading, but in anything, is always going to be a part of eventual success. So you have to, if you're just starting your trading journey or your investment journey, I can tell you right here, right now, you're going to take some losses. You just need to learn enough so that your profits are going to outweigh your losses. It's as simple as that. Nobody can win at everything all the time. I was going to, so what we can probably talk about in the group at some stages is just so we've got some precise examples to talk about. People might, post some sort of an opportunity that, not that I want to start posting links or talking about individual opportunities. I want to sort of avoid that in this chat group so that it's just about us learning together, not trying to, to spam links and talk each other into joining different opportunities. That's really what I completely want to avoid. But if we've got some exact examples, I can sort of show and I don't want to give exact examples of things I'm doing either, otherwise that might sort of coerce you into doing what I'm doing. But whatever opportunity it is, looking at it and working out exactly where the risk is. A couple of obvious risks are, that the company goes bust, shuts down, and I'm not even going to talk about whether that's from the company being a scam, a Ponzi scheme, or whether something just legitimate goes wrong. Any of those options, it doesn't matter what they are. And I say it doesn't matter because it's the same result. If you've got money there and that company goes bust or disappears for whatever reason, then you lose money. So same result. And you're never going to know for sure, no matter how much research and due diligence, as they say, you do, whether something is 100% legitimate. And even if it is legitimate, it doesn't mean it will stay that way. People in the company, CEOs, high level people, whatever, they can do something dodgy themselves. They can steal some money. They can do things they shouldn't. And that's dodgy, but it doesn't mean it's a scam. It just means the company, is going to struggle or it's going to go bust for, I don't care what it goes bust for, that's when people lose money. So that's why you need to have that investment strategy. Like you could have the best solid, nothing can go wrong with this opportunity. And then the CEO might lose $4 million at the casino. So he feels he's got to go and do something dodgy with the books and steal the company's money. That company could go bust. I just made that up, but I'm sure that's happened before. And then all of us, the little people, we're going to miss out because that company goes bust. Our money's in there, even though not that you're ever going to be positive, but we thought it was. We thought we were. That's why I always, at least for myself, and I encourage everyone to, if you put $1,000 into something, get that back as quick as that opportunity allows you to do, and then compound some results. Obviously, you've got to have a little bit of middle ground where you can, do a bit of compounding so you can make more eventually. But you've really got to at least get a good chunk of your initial money back so that you have less risk. I mean, there's enough things in our lives already to make us stress. Plenty of things. I'm sure we've all got a big list of those things. We don't need to be stressing about an investment. Like, we're trying to get a bit of a side gig going or starting to make another income stream. We're trying to do that to take financial pressure off our families, to secure our financial future. That's what we're trying to do. And we don't want to do that by increasing our stress. Otherwise, we'll spend it all on a psych or just do something silly at the casino with it. But, so we don't want to stress too much. And if people you would have heard plenty of people always try and tell you, don't put in more money than you can afford to risk. Well, nobody likes to, probably everyone's sick of hearing that because we don't want to lose any money. But the point there is that it's true, of course, but if you put in more money, then you can afford to lose. So that if you lost that money, it's going to put extreme financial pressure on your family. Then you've over leveraged yourself. You've put in more than you should have. And you're going to, if that happens, until you get that money back, you're going to be stressing the shit out of it all. And we want to avoid stress. And having that good investment plan is going to avoid that stress, or at least lessen it, because you should have a really clear game plan in mind. So you know that, okay, I'll put $1,000 into this and it's returning me 10% a week. I'm going to pull out 5%. I'm going to compound 5%. That means in 20 weeks, I'll have doubled my investment or tripled my investment, and I'd have recouped my initial money. Now, that was just a wild example about nothing in particular. And as I said, some things I do, the recouping of your money is a much shorter period than that. But that's what you should do when you start. Identify the risk, set up that exact game plan, and follow that exact game plan. I say follow that exact game plan because plenty of people can also identify the risk, set up an awesome game plan that minimizes risk, maximizes potential profit, and then 2 months later, everything's going great. Everybody in the chat group's talking about how much money they're making. you're getting excited because you're seeing that balance go up and up and up, and you go, bugger it, I'm going to throw some more in. Okay, that's you getting caught up in the excitement and deviating from your game plan. And yes, it can pay off, but so can put money on all on bloody black at the casino. It's a risk. If you change your game plan and you do something really left of base like that, whacking another big chunk in way down the track, then you've thrown your game plan out the window and you've just decided to take a risk. It's as simple as that, and you are now gambling. You want to avoid that. And I was having a conversation with you earlier, and they've been involved in a number of things, and they're feeling pretty down because they keep losing money. And this person isn't somebody that is in my team or anything like that, but she's talking about 3 different things, or probably 4 things that she's put money into, and ended up either losing a lot or losing a little bit on every one of them. And what was sort of funny, not funny at all, but I was in all of those 4 opportunities myself, and I made money on all of them. Now, a lot of people will say, okay, you're referring people, Les, so you're earning all these commissions, so it's different for you. And that's true. But all the plans I put in place when I start something, they are all done assuming that I refer nobody, that I earn no commissions, so that I can still end up in front, even if nobody gets involved from my referral. Generally I do refer people because that's something I like to do. But, that was just, that person didn't have a game plan. She didn't understand what she's doing, didn't understand any of the risks, and she just left the money in there and didn't really pay close attention to it. And 6 months later, she logs into her account and things aren't as they should be. And that's what we're talking about. So the same opportunities, one person can make money out of and the other person can lose money. Nothing to do with referrals, but one person having the wrong or no investment strategy versus somebody that does. This person can make money and this person can lose money. So it's definitely important. Anybody got any questions or anything you want to chat about? Because I did want to try and keep these videos short.
I did have something, but probably going over and over the same old stuff. Really,
yeah, it always is, but it's definitely important to go over stuff.
I think all of this stuff has a habit of appealing, different personalities, and people with the addictive, compulsive, gambling traits do draw to this stuff.
True.
So it is, you will see those people hitting the wall and for going all in, and exactly like you say, that no plan. I used to think I had a plan when I went and played the pokies, and I used to kill them. Sure, every gambler is going to tell you that. We don't. This should pick you up. This should be a personality builder, a confidence lifter. If you set the plan, you hit your targets, you achieve it, it'll improve your life. Going to the casino and gambling and risking all that money will wreck your life if you don't have a bit of risk management in that too. But don't get out of control. Just don't make it gambling, because I've been there.
Yeah, that's a good point, because that's how I said you'll see in chat groups, people get too excited because everything's going really well. They put more money in. A lot of those people that are getting excited and talking about making a lot of money, a lot of them won't have actually withdrawn money yet. They won't have realised that profit. So they're just talking about hype, really. It hasn't happened. They don't have it in their back pocket yet. So just because you see something, don't necessarily believe the entirety of the hype around it. Just simply think about something before you do it. Put that plan in place, work out the risk, and follow it. Like I was saying to that person I was talking about before, they were saying that, but you've got to compound for at least 8 months, otherwise it's barely worthwhile doing. I said, well, you've just said that you keep losing money. Okay, so if you keep losing money doing what you're doing now, then I don't mean to be rude, but you need to be doing something different. And I wasn't talking about doing a different sort of opportunity. I was sort of talking about doing whatever you're doing in a different way, because the way they were doing it obviously wasn't working, because that's what they were saying. Whereas myself and other people I know, same opportunity, but with a much better result. So, it's the old adage, that if you, what is it? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a better result or a different result. But that's really what it is. I just think that, well, a few things sort of settled in my mind over the years is that if somebody else can do it, then I can do it as well. That's just me being stubborn, I suppose, maybe a little bit arrogant. But, if somebody else can go from nothing and make a success of what I want to do, then, and particularly if that body was somebody without any experience in that field and learned what they needed to and then succeeded, if that's the case, I can't see any reason why I can't do that as well. And that's about it.
To happen overnight. If you're coming in with 50 grand, you've already had some success, and you shouldn't be coming here to find success all by itself. You're already on that path. But if someone comes in with bugger all, they got $500, and you can come in with $500 and build an income. It's possible. You can do it.
But don't try and compare yourself to the guy that comes in with big money and a big following of people that are going to join him as well. And when we get on to talking about
time frame,
when we're talking about network marketing and that, you'll always see people that are successful. They join a company, they go to the top ranks. Doesn't matter what sort of a company it is. You'll see them do that, and it's not that they're brilliant. Well, they're probably all right at what they're doing, but it doesn't mean that they've been lucky. It doesn't mean that they've been brilliant. It's just that you're not calculating in the 10 years that it took them to build the following that allowed them to do it. And it's the same with just investing or trading. You start small and you work your way up big. So you might get involved in one opportunity and you might double your money. If you can double your money, nobody likes to look too long term, but let's just have a bit of a reality check here. If you can take some money, doesn't matter how much, because that's different for everybody. And if you can double that in 1 year, that's pretty damn good. Let's compare it to if you stick it in some sort of traditional investment, 10, 20% profit per year, stocks and bonds type stuff, that's normal. This year you would have taken a loss. If you put it in the bank after fees, you're probably down a little bit as well. So if you can take some money and you can double it in a year, that's bloody fantastic. But in this day and age of all the hype and scams and, different crypto DeFi things that are swinging around and confusing people, doubling your money in a year doesn't sound like enough. And I guess if you're getting old, and not talking about myself or anything, you start to worry about you don't have enough years to just double every year. But, imagine I was 45 years old before I even heard of, residual income or leveraged income. I just didn't know anything about it. All I knew was, what my old man told me was that you get a fair day's pay for a fair day's work, boy. That's all I knew. We were graziers and farmers and shearers, that sort of thing. We just worked. We got paid. It was fine. And back in my parents' generation, that was fine. If you had a good job, you'd have it for your whole life. There'd be no worries. It was secure. Also back then, getting off the subject a bit, but the general thing was dad worked, mum stayed at home, looked after the kids. I know that's a bit sexist and everything, but that's how it was. And my point is that families back then could get by on a single income. These days, unless somebody's got, a really high paying job, and I'm talking about like more than average, Generally you see most families, both parents are out working. You know, that was sort of unheard of. I know my mum didn't just stay home and look after us. She used to work as well. She had a full-time job. But my dad's really old school too. And he didn't like the fact that mum worked. He didn't say nothing, but, you know, just his old school mentality. Mum was working. It didn't really sit right with him because, you know, he was the man. He was meant to provide. You know, that didn't cause a problem, but that was what he was thinking. And you could tell that. And that's just most people back in that generation were sort of that disposition. So that's not knocking my dad. That's just how it was. And these days, you don't get the luxury of thinking like that because both of you have got to get out there and bust your ass so that the kids can have their school uniform ready for school. I forgot what I was saying now.
You've
But
just
yeah,
about playing the quick video part.
Oh, yeah, no, I did for sure. But does anybody want to say anything at all? I hope.
Once people watch the recording, throw
Yeah,
something
exactly.
into the
Did,
Facebook group. And
Did what I say make some sort of sense, or did it maybe open your eyes to something or made you think or anything, or was it just, you know?
it's covered the bases. And definitely when people see it, they're gonna, especially if they come and watch this after something's happened in their investing journey, career, they're gonna see, oh shit, maybe I could have done that.
Now, I mean, it took me a long time, and I'm talking about 2 to 3 years to learn how to be a profitable trader. This is just talking about manually trading myself. I still wouldn't want to rely on my trading abilities in order to survive all the time. It can top up my income nicely at times, but I wouldn't want to have to rely on it. And I'm pretty sure every profitable trader would tell you the same. That's not only taken education, but it's taken a lot of time and practice, and they will have all lost money along the way before they got to be that profitable trader. Investing, and one of the big reasons behind that is that until you lose some money, you really don't appreciate the risk. People can tell you that that's why the risk is and all of that, but it doesn't really sink in until you lose your money yourself, and then you start to realize that, you know, that's where the risk is, and you need, you know, you should have paid more attention. But yeah, so the same with crypto, the same with investing, whatever it is that we're going to be talking about over the coming however long. I don't want people to go out and lose money in order to learn. Hopefully a little bit of what we talk about stops you doing that. But I do find, and this is speaking from personal experience, I don't appreciate the risk myself until it costs my back pocket, you know. Okay. So just be aware of that. Hopefully me losing money might help you be a little bit more cautious so you don't have to do it yourself.
Every time I've tested your theories, I've lost money. So yeah, I'm not. If I do it wrong, it's gonna bite.
Yeah. All right, guys, I might leave it to you. Thanks for jumping on, and I'll put this recording up in our little Facebook group, and it'll be there to watch if you haven't managed to watch it all yourself tonight.
Thanks, Les.
You're
Thanks,
welcome,
mate.
Kath. See you guys.